This is Health and Fitness Redefined, brought to you by Redefine Fitness. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. I'm your host, Anthony Amen, and today we got another great episode for all of you today, all about mindset, probably my favorite topic for those that avidly listen to the show. It's something I think that's super important, and hopefully we can learn a little more. So today's guest is DK Kang. Welcome to the show, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. What got you into writing and learn about mindset?
Thank you for having me to be on your show. So what got me writing about mindset is, I've been doing martial arts all my life, about 34 years now. I started at the age of 5, and I mean, your show talks about adversity and overcoming it. And so when you're doing martial arts is it's not easy. It's small progressions, but there's also a lot of that mindset of, meditation, clearing the mind, breath work. And so when I wrote this book, Mindset Metamorphosis, it was actually because I was going through a challenging time. So last year, January of 2024, my wife gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And then we're trying to do all this research because I talk about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Like a fixed is you kind of know everything and that's it. But growth is like, how are you progressing? Like, how are you learning? How are you growing? And so when we heard the news, we just dug deep. We went into research about nutrition, about fitness and how it can help with diseases and with going on a plant-based diet to help basically heal from cancer. And so the book kind of came about is because I felt overwhelmed, I felt stressed and just stuck. I'm like, what do I do? Because my wife is going through this. And then I'm reading this book called The Breast Cancer Husband. And it's basically talking about be there for your wife no matter what, like to all her appointments. And then as I'm about to finish it, the book says to let your employer know what's going on and to have more of a flexible work schedule. So then I tell my employer this. And so it's like February 1st when I tell them that. And then they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll give you a flexible work schedule. Then a week after that, on a Thursday, they're like, we're going to let you go. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, you said, it's okay to have a flexible work schedule. They're like, oh, it's budget cuts, things like that. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure that there's other reasons. But, for me, we could easily went down this spiral of like, oh, like the world is against us. Oh, life sucks. And so we had to reframe, like, how do we get through this? And so we had no income for 10 months from February of last year to December. So medical bills added up. I mean, living expenses still kept coming. And so, but our mindset really saved us because it's like your mind is like a magnet. If you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to get negative results. Like here's an example. In 2023, I ran a 50K Spartan Ultra. It's definitely for the few. And Anthony, I know you've done a 21K, the beast before, so you know what it's like, right? So doing a 50K is pretty much double that, 60 obstacles. For me, everything that went wrong. Like I tore my hands, I lost my tracker. I was already like a half mile in. I had to run back a half mile to go get my tracker. I lost my gloves. I had a nosebleed. I dropped a boulder on my toe, like the big Atlas carry. I had three hydration bags because I sweat a lot. But for me, like my mind was like, I need to keep going. That I need to keep moving forward and take those steps to continue to keep going. And then as I'm passing people that's doing the 50K with me, as you know, everyone's wearing an ultra shirt, so you know that everybody's doing an ultra. and they're saying this out loud, like, oh, this 50K is way too freaking hard, or this is like, I'm not going to make it to the finish line. And with that mindset, like, those people did not finish. Like, the 50K is a 50% fail rate. Like, the guy at, he's announcing at the beginning of the Spartan race, and he's like, 50% of you guys are probably going to fail this. That, I mean, and it's true. Like, about 620 people went in, and about 300 people finished on the finish line. As you see stats at the end of your race. And so, me kind of going back to that, I was thinking, like, with everything going on with my wife, I'm like, all right, like, the mindset, like, what we think is what we can control. Like, everything outside of that, like, I can't control if I find a job or not. But, and so we had to rely on just our mind, but, like, not only our mind, but, like, our faith. Our faith, the Bible talks about, in Romans, about not to conform to this pattern of this world, but to be transformed of the renewing of your mind. And so we had to renew our minds of, like, what that meant. We had to renew our way of thinking, and we had to reframe, like, instead of saying, like, oh, this is a terrible situation. We ended up praying after I lost my job. And then, as soon as I got home from work, when I got the news, we prayed. But instead of, like, kind of breaking down and crying, like, I ended up just kind of laughing. And I was just like, well, all right, God, well, why not us? And so I had to reframe that of, like, thinking, instead of why me, why us, I was reframed it to why not us, and saying, oh, maybe this might help somebody else that might be going through stuff. Like, everybody, as I'm writing this book, I'm like, everybody's going through some sort of adversity, some sort of challenge, some sort of storm. And, like, it's not just one person is going through this. Like, and I had to really think about that. And, like, I wanted to give people, like, practicals on, like, how to overcome those challenges. Because if you're doing a Spartan race, there's obstacles in the way. Like, do you get over it, under it, through it, around it? Do you crawl under it? Like, we're just going to have obstacles
I'm
in
going
life.
to jump in on this because I think this is so important. I never knew that Romans section. Can you repeat that thing for me again?
In Romans?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then it continues, it
Stop
says,
there.
okay, yeah.
That first line. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. I have been stuck on this for the last week. And it's crazy, like you said, like, things just kind of connect and hop in. Because I don't know that. I didn't know that was in there. But what I've been stuck on is I heard this last week and I've just been obsessing over it. Someone was being interviewed, a successful CEO, and he was laughing at the fact that everyone always talks about being average, right? Everyone wants to fit in, right? So that means conforming and fitting into a society.
Yeah.
But let's take the average American. They're overweight.
Mm-hmm.
They have underlying health conditions from it.
Yep.
They're divorced.
Yep.
They're not happy.
Yep.
They're in a job they hate and can't wait to retire. So they
Yep.
feel like they're wasting their time.
Yep.
Like, even just those 5 things, why the hell would I want to fit in and conform to that kind of society? And that flips into what you're talking about is, if you go to be just like everybody else, you're going to end up being like everybody else. If you do habits like everybody else, you're going to end up being habits like everyone else. So when someone says to me, Anthony, why do you do things that way? That's because all of you go that way. So I'm going that way because I know that's not the answer. And try comparing me to that person. Screw you. I don't want to be average. Don't compare me to that person. Compare me to the top 3% in the US. And those are the habits I'm going to follow, as opposed to the average American. F that. I even took it to an extreme. I had a conversation with my wife, and she was talking about how like it's just normal. She kept saying that. It's like, well, I do this. Is this normal? And I said, who gives a shit? Why do I want to be normal? Like, we're taking that. I know it's a saying she had in her vocabulary. Like, we're taking that out of vocabulary. It doesn't matter. It no longer matters if something is normal. Don't be normal. Be different, because that's what's going to help you ultimately succeed in life.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, for me growing up, I grew up in Missouri. I was never the normal kid. Like, I brought kimchi and I brought Korean food to school in the middle of nowhere of Missouri, and I got made fun of. But for me, like, my parents were Korean, they immigrated here, and so they're like, here's a lot of health benefits to kimchi. And I mean, I wrote a cookbook on how to integrate kimchi into dishes because there's so many probiotics and the fermentation and health benefits with your gut brain health with fermented foods. And so, like, I've always kind of been like that, the outcast kid, kind of going against the grain. And so, like you're saying, like, I kind of didn't want to be normal. Like, and I grew up doing martial arts. Martial arts isn't a normal thing to do that everybody does. Like, I didn't play basketball, soccer, because all the other kids are doing that. And I'm like, there's more. I want to just do martial arts because that helps with your mind, body, spirit. And it just really helps you to, like, overcome the adversity, the challenges, because when punches and kicks are flying at your face, like, what do? Soccer, no one's trying to kick you in the face, like, or punch you in the face. Like, everyone's chasing a ball. Like, so I think you're right, just trying to not be normal. And, like, when my wife got diagnosed with cancer, like, we didn't do the normal thing. Like, we ended up seeing 3 doctors. Two of them were like, yeah, just eat pretty much anything you want to eat. And we're like reading this book called Crispy Cancer. And it's a great resource, but, he talked about, going on a plant-based diet, whole foods, and juicing, and, a lot of that. And then, like, for some of your listeners, I don't know if you know about this documentary called The Game Changers. It's a plant-based documentary and how a plant-based diet helps with athletic performance. Great documentary. And there's a bunch of other ones, like Forks Over Knives is one. But so, as we're reading this book, Crispy Cancer, we're like, all right, we're going to go full plant-based and we're going to heal from this. And so that was like our mindset. We had to change, instead of like, oh, well, we're just going to continue to eat our diet. Well, like, if you look at cancer is not, it's not a genetic disease anymore these days. Maybe it's like 5%, but 95%, it's a lifestyle disease from your environment, your eating habits, your stress, like the type of work you're doing, like all these things adds up, like the chemicals that we're ingesting, like the processed food that, like, we should get away from. And so we just went completely plant-based, and that was like our mindset shift, because we're like, all right, we need to learn from someone that's been there before us. It's like fitness. You're a coach, you're a trainer, you're a personal trainer. People don't come to see you based on, like, oh, I'm already at your level. It's like, no, you're training them so you can bring them up to your level or even better. And same for me. Like, I've done martial arts, I've taught it. Like, for me, my end goal is, I want my students, the people that I'm training, I want them to be better than me. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be a slouch and not train anymore. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep training, but I'm gonna keep bringing you up with me, and that's gonna bring you better. And so yeah, the mindset is very powerful. And I believe that so many of us don't practice mindset tools, even like habits, micro habits. Like, how do we build upon another habit? Let's just say, I talk about this in my book about habit stacking. And let's say you already have a habit you do every single day. Like, I don't know, everybody drinks coffee, right? I don't drink coffee, but I kind of use this as an example. You're brewing your coffee. It takes 2 minutes, right? And you're saying, I want to get better in fitness. Well, while your coffee is brewing for 2 minutes, knock out as many push-ups as you can. Do that every single day. That's going to compound. These little steps are going to compound into something bigger, because by the end of the year, you're like, man, I've done 1,000 push-ups just by doing push-ups every morning when my coffee's brewing. So it's things like that. And the book was a way for me to deal with my stress, my overwhelmed, and me feeling stuck. And like, what are some of the things that I know that I've done that helped me, that I'm sure it's going to help other people as well, like breath work, like taking deep breaths, prioritizing what's important to you. So like a lot of these things, I was just like, I need to write these things down and put it in a book. And I just want to help people change their minds and get active. Like I talk about hydration in there too, like drinking water every day, and try to drink half your body weight. And so like for me, I've been a massage therapist for 18 years now, and my main focus is athletic performance, athletic recovery, and with stress management and pain management, because I know everybody's stressed, I know everybody's in pain, but a lot of my clients are athletes. Like I see runners, I see golfers, and they're like in pain because they're like breaking down their muscles. And so I've been helping them with their body work, but at the end of the day, it's also your mind too. Like, what are you thinking? What are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding your mind garbage? And same thing, are you feeding your body garbage too? Like, are you eating McDonald's every single day, which is not good? Like, because it's all processed, and we have to think, like, why is the United States one of the richest countries in the world, but we are the most obese country in the world as well? Like, it's very it's disheartening for me, because I want people to be healthier in their mind and their body, but just also like emotionally as well. And exercise
Here's
helps with
here's a
that.
good here's a good question that we can ask, and I want my listeners to really think about this. Why in our studio, as a perfect example, do I have to push people, like actively persuade them to start taking creatine, but they'll blindly go buy a processed food at a grocery store, and even to the extreme, go inject some medicine into them like your GLP-1s without truly knowing what's doing to your body?
Because it's easy. A doctor tells them to do this, they're like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. Like, instead of like actually reading about it or educating themselves and having that growth mindset. Because for us, like, we saw a doctor, they're like, yeah, eat whatever you want to do. You need to do, 12 rounds of chemo. You need to do 10 sessions of radiation. You need to do all this. And then as we're doing research, we're like, well, why do we need to do all that? And then the doctor tells us, like, oh, we overdiagnose and overmedicate everybody. And well, we're like, well, can we cut that in half and still get the results? And they're like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, well, can we do that? Like, because we did our own research. But I think when people easily just go to there because it's readily available, and people want to be in their comfort zones because that's all they know.
Yeah, I totally agree. How's your wife now? How's her cancer diagnosis?
Yeah. So she is cancer free from February of 2025. But that also entailed her getting cataracts from the steroids, from the chemo treatments. The doctor says that it's not related, but her eye doctor says it is related. So, it's like, who do we trust? But she just done cataract surgery last Thursday on her second eye. So she's still recovering from that. But I mean, with cancer, it's a long and hard recovery, because those drugs, I mean, chemotherapy, I mean, it kills the good and the bad. It doesn't matter. And so energy level, like, I'll tell people right now to start changing your diet right now, and changing your mind, because like a key, like, when we had no insurance at the point when I lost my job, she had her first chemo treatment It was $80,000 US dollars, like for one, and she had to do 12. Like people, you will go broke if you don't take care of your body. Like it's more expensive to get chemo than it is to just change your diet into a whole food diet instead of eating hamburgers. And I'm saying that because like we're still kind of in the thick of it. Like, I mean, luckily our insurance kicked in, but we still have like $60,000 worth of medical debt like that piled up because we didn't have insurance we didn't have income coming in. And so I just want to help people like, hey, like wake up and like this is real. Like more and more people are getting diagnosed with cancer. Like my father had pancreatic cancer. My best friend's mom has cancer. My wife's few friends have cancer. It's a big deal. And if you could prevent it, it's going to be so much more better for you and for your family, because when you hear the news you have cancer, it turns your world upside down. I mean, it did for us, for sure. And so,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it's
kind of
pretty
the
mind
book.
blowing. Like you hear those kind of things, and the post I was going to put up today on my social accounts actually was a lot of people choose wealth over health, and
Yeah.
it should be the exact opposite, because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much money you have in the world. Your health is the most important thing. As you kind of just said, if you tie them together, a chemo treatment costs you $80,000. That's
Yeah.
like, how much money could you invested of that into your health? And then would you have gotten breast cancer from that point? I don't know. The chances probably would have been way lower, or she would have been way better prognosis, right?
Yeah.
Should have way better quality of life.
Yeah.
And if you turn that into what we really see with, yet again, tying into the average American, by the time the average person retires from work, they are on some sort of disability, to the
Yeah.
point where they can, all the things they talked about, traveling the world, backpacking Europe, doing this, going on this, they can't do anymore because
No.
they're just too sick.
Yeah.
So you get caught in that, well, maybe I should have taken time more back. We can't go back in time and take more time
No.
off. I mean, the easier solution, if you can't afford it financially, is start taking care of your health. Prioritize your health above absolutely everything else. When you look at your spend, as far as like your month to month, like balancing your budget, it really shows where your priorities actually are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people prioritize stupid shit. And I see this time and time again as an example. Women, just, I'm not picking on you, but getting your hair done, going to
Yeah.
get a blowout and a cut at an expensive salon. You're talking like $200, and some people do that bi-weekly.
Yeah.
That's not bettering your health. Maybe
No.
cut that down and do half that. Or what
Yeah.
about going out to eat? You can go out to eat and to like a takeout like Chipotle, spend $15. Or you can go out and get wine and steak at an expensive steakhouse, spend $100 a person.
Right.
Like, look at that. That's an $85 difference right there that you could have
Mhm.
used to invest into your own health and
Yeah.
had way better outcomes
Yeah.
than just 1 hour of enjoyment. Would you
Yeah.
rather that 1 hour, or would you rather a lifetime and years of being able to watch your kids get married, watching your grandkids get
Mhm.
born, like being there for your elderly parents that are in their 80s if they're alive?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And if you don't prioritize your health, you're fucked. That's bottom line. That's it. And
Yeah.
I don't know at what point we need to have a wake up call. I mean, we're seeing it now, at least this year, with what's going on politically, but like, wake
Yeah.
up.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
start focusing on our health. I don't want to hear how going to a gym is expensive and time consuming. Who the fuck cares? You're going to be around years longer.
Yeah.
You're going to feel way better. You're way
Yep.
less likely to get that cancer. Like,
Yep.
think about those before you start thinking about, oh, well, I got to wake up early and go to the gym.
Yeah. And you don't have to sign up for a gym. Like start small. Like go outside, get some sun exposure, get some vitamin D, like go on walks. Like walking is just so good. Like if you're starting out like a couch potato, like don't be me like me and go do like a 50K Spartan race. I mean, just get up, put your shoes on and walk to the mailbox every day and then go out a little bit further. Like just add some sort of physical activity. But we have one mind and one body. Like what are you going to do with it? It's like if you had one car, how would you treat that one car? If you had one Toyota Camry, how would you treat it? for the rest of your life. Like, same thing. You have one mind, one body. What are you going to put into it? Are you going to give it, hamburgers and hot dogs and, fast food? Or are you going to change your diet and add some more nutritious food that's, whole food, and try to get some exercise? And because, when you're overweight, like I see this with a lot of my clients as well. Like I see a lot of, some people are just overweight because they have a desk job, because they're stressed and, they have a lot of pain. But I'm like, you're putting so much on your joints with that extra weight. I'm like, you're going to end up getting a knee replacement or a hip replacement in a couple years. And then once you get that and you don't lose the weight and keep the weight off, like you're going to need another knee replacement. And it's not the surgeon's fault. It's like, we need to have ownership. We're not the victim. We need to have ownership of our own health and our own like mental health as well. And what are we doing with that? We just want everyone to fix us. Like, oh, the doctor gives me a new knee replacement, but you don't do anything about it. Then, well, it's on you. You can't blame the surgeon for a new knee replacement that it goes bad in a couple of years. Like, you got to think about these things, that we need to have ownership of our own health, because no one's going to take care of it besides you.
So in your book, how did you discover how to get through to people? Like, what do you think is the answer and way to start a conversation with somebody to get them to have a mindset shift?
I think first you have to figure out, like, what's your why? Like, think about, like, some people's like, I want to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds. Okay, so, but why? Like, why do you want to lose that? I just want to look good. I'm like, well, what's your bigger why? Like, oh, I want to be able to play with my kids. I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And let's start shifting that mindset of like, all right, what do you need to do, and how do you start small? Because you're not just going to run a 5K right now if you're trying to lose 30 pounds. All right, well, let's just start walking, and then do that for like a month. It's starting like these small habits, these small like shifts. Like when like journaling would be another one. Like journal down, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling stuck, or I'm not enough. Like these negative thinking patterns. And then it's like, all right, now let's start reframing it to, well, why do I feel that I'm not enough? And then writing it down, like, okay, here's some things that I'm grateful for and why I am enough to start a business or to lose 30 pounds, or whatever it is. And it's starting small and building those habits, because those habits change your behavior. And once you change that behavior, you start seeing better results, not only in your mind, but also just in your physical activity as well.
Here's a tough one for you. How do you approach, or do you approach, those people that you talk to and they make jokes about their health all the time, and they like pretend they don't, I'm going to say pretend they don't care. They're 100 pounds overweight, or they're smoking and they're drinking a lot, and you're just like, oh, ho, ho, I don't do that. How do you approach that kind of person? Is that even worth it? Even if you absolutely love that person, because let's say it's a spouse or a kid, what would be your response to get that person motivated? Because they're not thinking about why. They're thinking about how
Yeah.
much to pull this off.
It depends on the person too. I mean, if it's like a good friend of mine, then yeah, I would approach them and saying, hey, like, that's not a good mental framework to have, because you're bringing yourself down and you can't help anybody else. But if it's just someone that's just like, I don't know, I'm not really going to approach them, and because then I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting their time, because usually it ends up happening is like an argument happens, and they're right, I'm wrong, or I'm right, they're wrong, whatever it is. And so, like, for me, I just rather not, because we're wasting both of our times. I mean, if you want help, like, I'll try to help you, but at the end of the day, they don't want help. And so it's hard to give someone help when they don't want it.
Yeah, just I take it as a personal responsibility, and people always bring it up to me because I'm usually wearing like a gym shirt that has their name on it. So they'll just see
Yeah.
me and they'll just say something, even if it's unprompted. So
Right.
that's always the biggest thing I struggle with, is like, I do this because I want to help people, I want to save lives.
Yeah.
But like, they're going out of their way to say something to bring it down and to make it sound not important.
Yeah. But, I think just asking the questions to that person says like, well, like, why do you talk to yourself that way? Like, or why do you think that? And just to really kind of get in their heads, and because then for you, it's like, oh, I'm just trying to help people. I want to save lives. I want this world to be healthier and better. And so, why do you think that? But I don't want to be around someone that's going to bring me down as well. So it's a fine line. It really is. It's kind of, where do you cross that line, or where do you not cross that line? And it's sometimes you just have to gauge it, and it's hard because people are not robots. People have emotions, and and sometimes I've heard that like, oh, you're body shaming me. I'm like, well, no, I'm trying to tell you the truth. The truth hurts, but like, if you don't want to hear it, then I'm wasting my time and energy on you. Like, and so I'll move on to the next person then. So.
Yeah, I could totally see that. DK, tell us a little bit about like where you're headed. So what this whole mindset frame you had for yourself and going to not having a job, like where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I'm working on another book about gratitude. That's something that definitely helped us as well, as to get through what we were going through, is just practicing gratitude every day. Because when we're not grateful, it's only then when we're grateful when we don't have what we don't have anymore. And so, yeah, working on another book, and I just want to be able to help people in the next 5-10 years, more than that, as a lifelong thing. Be on more podcasts, spread the word about health, fitness, about mental, and really just share my story for people, that they're not alone, that people can do this. People can lose weight. People can get healthier. People can stay healthy. And, maybe even coaching one of these days, like coaching clients or something to change their mind, or to build better habits, or to even get in shape. So
I love that. So just to summarize, just to kind of wrap this all together, for our final 2 questions here. The first one would be, if you were to summarize this episode in 1 or 2 sentences, what would be your take-home message?
Take-home message: start small, change your mind, get some exercise, get some sun.
Love it. And then, of course, how can people find you, get a hold of you, and find your book?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, dkkang.com. If you subscribe to my newsletter, I'm actually giving away the first chapter of my book for free. It'll be as a download. My book is on Amazon, Mindset Metamorphosis. And then my other book, the Kimchi Connection Cookbook, it's about integrating kimchi into different dishes. That's on Amazon as well. And that's under my actual real name, which is DK Kang. So they're both on Amazon.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of Health Fitness Redefined. Don't forget, subscribe, share. It's the only way this podcast grows, is to spread the message, and hopefully we could change more lives. And remember, fitness is medicine. Until next time. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of Health Fitness Redefined. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this show with a friend, with a loved one, for those that need to hear it. And ultimately, don't forget, fitness is medicine. I'll see you next time.